Here's Awful Wrestling, says USA Network, part of NBC Universal, signed a 5-year deal to air WWE SmackDown starting on October 2024. The deal is valued at around $287 million per year, totaling over $1.4 billion across the contract. This represents a significant increase, about 40% from the previous deal with Fox, which was worth $205 million annually. Murdoch lying, yes. So here is Thurston posting posts Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch on why Fox didn't renew rights to WWE SmackDown from Fox's earnings calls this morning. Murdoch says Fox didn't drive enough advertising revenue due to the audience of the WWE. Seemingly, this means the number of viewers and probably also the ad rates. No. See what Thurston does there? He goes, seemingly, it's this and the number of viewers. No. Because earlier, and I wish I had it handy, but I covered it on this show, goddammit. So if I'm lying, you guys can call me out, but I'm 98% sure that this was exactly what we covered it on the show before. I know 100% sure, but this is like months and months and months ago. But Fox basically was saying this a long time ago, and the IWC was trying to clown WWE, and they were like, Fox on WWE when SmackDown's on the network. Well, like the sickos were trying to take that as a W. But Fox basically had said that they like mishandled their approach to the marketing or something. Like that's not their exact quote. Again, I'm not speaking verbatim here. But they said something along those lines that like they took the responsibility for like, no, we approached like how we were going to advertise wrong or something. So is essentially what I took from it. And I'm like pretty sure I had someone smarter like Dose on with me extrapolating that from it. But someone fact check me on my own show on that. I don't got the time to do it. But either way, I believe I don't think it has to do with the number of viewers. Like 2 million people are watching it. So now Fox wants, like, people think what they want to show that 500,000 people are watching instead of this 2 million show. No, like even if AEW goes to FS1, we'll get into all that in a bit. Someone said it on X. They were like, it's sloppy seconds. It's sloppy thirds. Like that's the channel WWE goes to as a backup. The ratings suck and people go, yo, this show sucks. They didn't really do much on it. And the ratings are this week and everyone has to go, oh, well, they were on FS1. So we'll get into all that in a bit. Awful is saying he knows more than this Fox dude. But I don't know if the Fox dude's lying. I think it's Thurston's spin. His interpretation is of what this Lachlan guy's saying. That's my interpretation of this anyways. But yes, because he says seemingly it means the number of viewers and probably also the ad rates. Maybe that, yeah. Maybe audience income level is a factor. See, maybe it's this. The income thing. Oh, people who watch WWE are poor and broke and stupid and low IQ. That's why I say that on X. If you guys see me on X arguing with a Mark and I'm like, you're just too low IQ to understand, like, that's what I'm doing. It's like the fake news, right? Like I just stole these terms they like to, the low, like when Meltzer threw that out there, like WWE fans are low IQ. It's like, man, if that's the game we're going to play, I can't get down with this anymore.
I think we've talked about this before, but how we analyze the WWE renewal, and you know we look at all of our sports portfolio in the same way, and on all new rights, opportunities to acquire new rights in the same way. We on the basis of that analyst.
It just says down here, Fox additionally wasn't able to generate enough retransmission revenue related to the show, meaning they weren't able to charge cable satellite carriers much more to carry Fox Network specifically because they had SmackDown. Well, it just sounds like a bad deal on your end. So Jericho pulls up in a car that says "Hi Guys" on the license plate, and he's trademarked "Hi Guys" or whatever. So when I do my tweets or my posts that go, "Hey guys," like, am I allowed to do that? Or my wrestling entity? And he might try and come at me. Who knows? Kiana James has been pulled from WWE's active roster for reasons currently unknown. James has been shifted to the company's MISC section. And it turns out she's injured. She actually got a leg injury. So, of course, the sheets were, couldn't wait to just be like, it's unknown why. But then after you just take 2 minutes to try and find out why, you discover that, oh, she just got hurt. So all they had to do was actually try and do their jobs, and then they would have known why. Jim
It's
Ross
much about being first than being right.
Exactly, man. Jim Ross on the recent picture that leaked from before WWE Raw with talents together in the ring planning the show. Whoever did it should be fired, King. Somebody's a chicken. Quite frankly, give me attention. I took this picture. Nobody's going to know and all that. It's just unprofessional and has no place. By God, whoever did it should be fired. Simple as that. Shouldn't go to HR. Just look, you broke a rule that is important to maintain. That picture is very revealing. It tells multiple stories. And so in that respect, it's unique. You can see all the talents hanging out. Yeah, I get it. But Jim, you work in AEW, buddy. So, and I know you don't want to, he's not going to bury the company he's in. And he was asked, like, what about, like, I'm not trying to do a what about AEW. But yeah, if I was Jim, I just would have been like, bro, I'm gonna pass on this one. But you know what I mean? Because it's like, bro, you can't even say like this, because I bet there's sickos going at Jim Ross. But he is right, though. I agree. Like, stop leaking pictures. Everyone's got to stop trying to leak all the hot news, man. It ruins the show. Like, you know, like, we're watching the show together. I don't want to know what happens in, like, let's say, Breaking Bad. I don't want to know the finale and all of that. That's why we go at the sheets who spoil the and report the numbers and try and tell you, oh, here's the call sheet. Here's the plan for Raw before it happens.
And that's why the moments that you don't know are they hit so hard, like when CM Punk came back, or that first time that Rock showed up in Denver. Like, those are moments.
Bro, forever.
They're not spoiled.
Yeah, man. It's just such a crazy time we live in. Everything seems so backwards. Moving along here, WWE Raws move back to 2 hours starting. So there's so many people saying just dumb like, Raw gonna be 2 hours for this foreseeable future. All this stupid like. No, it's not 2 hours moving into the Netflix era. Like Netflix, it'll go back to 3 or however long. That's the beauty of Netflix. They can give us a 4-hour Raw, then give us a 3-hour 30-minute Raw, then give us a 2-hour 48-minute Raw. They can give us a, you know, like whatever needs to be on TV is going to be on TV. That's the beauty of Netflix. There's no
this is how they got their extension. This was the part of the extension, and USA did it because USA is going to put whatever their favorite new original programming in from that 10 to 11 hour that used to be Raw's third hour. They're going to let that be the lead into it. Like, that's smart for everybody.
Exactly. And they're only going to go 2 hours until the Netflix deal starts. Like, this is just on USA.
3 months. Yeah, it's 3 months.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of people are like, oh, like in the Netflix era, they're going to still be 2 hours, like only. No, that's not it. It's 3 hours when it moves to Netflix. It got confirmed a few minutes ago. The basic situation is that it was this is Meltzer, by the way. It was a USA Network call, not a WWE call. I'm not sure why. It will boost the ratings. Yeah, of course, Dave, you're not sure why. Because you're a dumb who doesn't know that's why. Here. All Jay could tell you why. You don't know why. You're in the biz. I thought you're a wizard TV guy that everyone comes to.
Sources.
Jesus. It will boost the ratings of the show because they won't have the third hour that drags down the average, but I'm not sure exactly. He would never say drags down the average when talking about AEW. October 7 will be the first show under the new 3-month contract, which is the $25 million deal for 3 months, which is way below market value. Of course, he has to put that there. But Dave, they gave it to USA at a discount because USA is doing them a solid as well. This is called like doing good business with people, Dave. Hey, it's not about all like oh my God. Imagine him saying under market value talking about AEW. He just wouldn't do it. And I'm not trying to do what about AEW, but you have to with Dave because just the way he talks about the two companies are night and day. Stark contrast.
And he thinks he's being subtle. He thinks he's actually being subtle enough where he's pulling that off when he writes. He's like, yeah, they won't. Nobody will get what I'm doing. Yeah. Everybody gets what they're doing. And he just he blocks anybody who calls him out on it.
Yeah, and if you call him out on it, you just get blocked. So 2 hours because maybe they had something planned. Yeah, Dave, it's called the move to Netflix. It's called USA's got a show. This is why they did that deal, Dave, because of what all Jake said. They're preparing, okay, we're going to stick a show in that third hour. What, like, you know what I mean? Like, blah, blah, they're working it out. Hey,
they've
WWE,
already been promoting it.
Yeah, we're
anonymous. It's called.
There you go. We're putting this anonymous show in the third hour. here's how the deal, blah blah blah. Like Dave, it's just called working out a good deal with people and doing good.
Yeah, they've got Michael Cole promoting it on their commercials here. I don't know if you guys get that up there in Canada.
That reality show.
Yeah, they're already. I don't know if that will be it by then, but they're already promoting stuff to get you ready. It'll either be that show or something like that. Similar within that, something that's original programming that makes them money, because that's what this is all about.
So the girl who created these bracelets, they're not trying to give her a dime, which, listen, that is business too, and I don't condone that. Like, WWE, do the right goddamn thing. Just offer her a cut. Be like, hey, we'll give you 5% forever of these bracelets if you just whatever. But they take these bracelets, they try to sell them, they pulled them down because the backlash was crazy. And even the girl tweeted out, I hope she's not getting hate. She was like, look, it's no hate on WWE. She's like, it's just, come on now. And it's true, dude. Someone just takes your and passes it off, man. Like, whips it out in a Chinese factory and just starts pumping these little, 10-cent bracelets out. And now they're going to make however much money. How much do these things cost, dude? Let's look, $10 for this thing. It probably costs 2 cents to make this bracelet right here. And like, at least offer her a cut, but they don't have to legally. And they thought, but it's good that they showed like, nah, okay, we can't go through with this. And also, it's cringe. Who the f is gonna buy that? Like, that's like, listen, the bracelet, I'll defend it all day being a plot point and a sentimental story. Like, it's a personal thing to Punk in this storyline. Yes, I'll put that over all day, and I'll defend that from the sickos who go like, oh, you guys are wrestling over bracelets. But then when you try and sell the bracelet, like, I'll defend, okay, Nick Wayne's mom on TV, all right, I kind of get it. It's sort of, but then when you start putting her on T-shirts with fake BBLs and fake AI car Photoshop pictures, then I'm gonna. That's terrible. You know what I mean? So when you start putting like big blacked and jacked on T-shirts, that's cringe, bro. Like, yeah, if Hobbs says that on TV, that's funny, or if he tweets that out, that's funny. But as soon as you put that on a shirt, bro, it's not. That just goes beyond, like, I don't know. It's just immature, sixth grade-ish, attitude era-ish, in like not the good way. You know what I mean? And then same with this. This is like, imagine you buy this. Yo, dog, nice bracelet. Who's Larry? Is that like your brother or something? No, it's this wrestler I likes dog and his chick. Like, that's weird, dude. I'm sure Punk's the one who called in and was like, yeah, we're not selling those, like, take the hit, WWE. We're not selling those. Or like, give them away. Like, they should have just gave these away or something. Right? They should have never been. They should have gave them away at the strap match. And Punk should have been like, we're giving these away, like how he did the ice cream bars in AEW. Should have been like, we're giving away these bracelets or something. Not sell them for $10 and then not even cut the girl in. But yeah, WWE took the L on that one. And
Fanatics, because Fanatics is their member or their merchandise company. I feel like that's one of those things
now I'm a Fanatics partner, but no, I'm just kidding on that if you want. Yeah, that's
someone said it's like that. It's the corporate world where like things just kind of go through, and it probably was that because I know Punk's big on his merchandise, but I feel like he probably never even got put in front of him because there's so many channels these things have to go through. And Fanatics is great with a lot of different things, but with certain, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't realize
that guy.
Exactly.
The guy who runs Fanatics, he's on the phone with Jay-Z, and he doesn't know. Right. He's just like, oh, they're fighting over a bracelet. WWE must have. Why aren't we selling those yet? Like, I'm sure that's all their mentality was, but
or even like some person who's trying to get themselves known as there's some salesperson or program manager, like, hey, took the initiative and went and pushed for those forward and didn't think it through, and then all of a sudden they got their. But
let's be honest here, WWE took a loss.
Oh yeah, it's a big L. No.
They took the L for this move, but like money wise to their company. They didn't lose. They lost $8 producing these things. These things, if they had actually got away with selling those things, would have been like literally thievery, dude. Selling these 1 penny bracelets for $10, bro, that would have been insane alone right there.
My wife's a big Swiftie, and she could pop you out like 20 of those in an afternoon. When she was preparing for the Eras tour here, she was making them like every night. She had a whole little station, a whole.
Oh, is she the best singer? Oh, but she's not the best singer though. Idiots.
Does she have the most? Let's get the stopwatch out. Is it the most song or dance time? What? We got a stopwatch her at her shows. She spends too much time talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
They're engaged.
WWE has now removed the item from their official shop. So O'Shea Jackson Jr. got tagged in this. Remember when you were killed online for these exact comments? Here's the thing. WWE did a good job. Here's what they did, right? They tapped into the Uber Mark fandom, and then they exploited it to make her like virally known before she came into the WWE. Here's the problem with the Thunder Rosa critique is that like WWE can get away with the exceptions and O'Shea's critique. Okay, like WWE can get away with the exceptional heel versus heel match because they don't do it all the time. They can get away with the exceptional, hey, we're going to fuel the internet smart marks to get hype about Giulia and just hype her up with a couple packages. And it worked because the building in NXT was chanting, Giulia, Giulia. You know what I mean? It worked. So that's why this criticism is, it's like, yeah, this is just a bad criticism in my opinion. That's just my opinion on what Thunder Rosa is saying here. And O'Shea, I love you too, dog. But if you're sharing the same opinion, I just disagree. WWE is the exception because they're on fire right now in a way that just happens. Like it happens in waves. It comes and goes. We're in that period where, you know, they're firing on all cylinders, truly.
Literally.
They can do the internet mark and get away with it sometimes. Now, if they did it with every wrestler, we'd be like, what the but they're not doing that. But this one, it worked with Giulia. Okay, why? Now let's think about why. Okay, Giulia has the look. She just has that aura, dude. It's the way she presents herself. It's the way she sells, the way she has like that little smirk it's everything. It's it's everything. She has literally whatever it is. Now, not everybody has it. Some people have to work really hard to get their position. Some people just have that thing. I think Thunder Rosa just has that thing. I think AEW's kind of made her lose it a bit, but she had that thing, dude, where it was like, damn, you know, like she just showed up in NWA and everyone's talking about her, and then she's in AEW, everyone's talking about her, and you know, Giulia's one of those ladies that just has it. Like when Delta comes in, now she'll be amazing. I don't know if she has it like the way even Giulia does, you know? Even Vaquer, she's an amazing talent. She's got aura and all that, but there's something about Giulia where, to me, you could throw her in at like a Becky, Charlotte, Bianca level in the next 3 months, and I picture it. She just looks like she could be on a WrestleMania stage to me. She just has that thing about her. So
100%. It's like
so they knew that. They tapped into it with the internet mark. So I agree, like not every wrestler can get like a vignette and then just like a promo package and then just come out and kick Chelsea Green in the head and then you're over. That's very AEW-ish, but they don't do it all the time. The problem, just to make it about AEW for a second, because that's the comparison, AEW does that all the time, or they used to do that all the time. They still do, let's be honest, but they would do that so much to where that became the criticism. So yes, this is a fair criticism, but it just doesn't really apply because it worked. If it didn't work, we'd call it out and I'd go, yeah, they fumbled Giulia, but it worked. And then she had a great match with Chelsea Green, an amazing match. And I tweeted out after the match, Chelsea Green's one of the best, probably top 5 in the world right now, hands down. Chelsea Green all around, everything, you know, character, selling, you know, look.
There's nothing she can't do. She can do it all.
You could anyone. She just throw her in there with Giulia. You throw her in there with anyone. She's a position player. Any show, a tag match, singles, manager, you name it. She, to me, is all around heel, babyface. She's all around. I want to say top 5. So she made Giulia look like $1 million. And I don't know. It was NXT was amazing. If you didn't watch it, go watch that. Pirate ship it if you got to. Hey, that's all going to Netflix soon, at least in Canada. So whatever. But yeah, Thunder Rosa's opinion here is that she goes, "Why the fuck are you going to introduce somebody with so much hype with nothing, no story, no video, nothing?" Well, they did have a video.
Also, video.
Yeah, the way she presented herself in Stardom, she presented herself as a superstar. They presented her as literally that. They presented her as the biggest free agent signing and one of them, and she's coming in as like, just look at her, just her aura. Like all you have to do is stop and look at Giulia. They had her square off with Jordynne Grace. They had her already with main roster talent Chelsea Green, already going at Roxanne. Look at, what do you mean? You could not present her as more of a star. NXT is to see if that hype's real, dude. Like Shinsuke could have came over and everyone could have not been like, we don't get it. But when he came to NXT for that brief run, people went like, that's when they realized, oh yeah, they get it here. And like, he gets it here too. You know, they have to know that Giulia gets it here too in America. You know, it's a different thing. And that's why y'all don't, that's why a lot of these, I don't want to say Thunder Rosa, but a lot of these sickos, they don't get it. Like, you know, you have, okay, they're dumping a bunch of money into Jericho's car. I don't know. Jericho loves like getting orange spilt on him and falling in mimosa pits. So now we get Cassidy. It's Cassidy versus Jericho again, and they dumped a bunch of pennies into a car. Ridiculous.
Also with Giulia, she brought back Funaki onto our TV. He's her
interpreter. Dude, Funaki was her translator.
I popped so hard for that.
Dude.
It took me a second. I'm like, wait, it's Funaki.
Number one, dude. SmackDown number one announcer, bro.
Yes. It was such a good time in life.
Dude, and that's what I mean. And they presented her as a star. And yeah, I don't know. Thunder, we can continue this quote. She just says, give them a big video package, explain the story of the person. Here's the thing with WWE fans, Thunder Rosa, they don't give a like, they appreciate if you did that work in other places, but they know the system in WWE, and we understand that we're grinding through that is like really the respect, man. That's really like, okay, what was Kevin Nash just crying about? Oh, the boys and like the time we put in on the road, the money and the miles, those miles, man. The WWE fans respect when you at least go there and you try that. The wrestling world does, because look at all the WWE people in AEW that you all pop for, and that Thunder Rosa. I don't know, man. Listen, I'm not hating on Thunder. I'm kind of going at her like I would a Mark, but I didn't. I just think this opinion's like wild for her to have, and I don't want to be like she's jealous or anything like that. I don't want to put that on her or anything, but I'll just say, I don't know. This took me. I just can't believe she has this opinion. I think you have to trust WWE's process, especially right now. They're white hot. If every wrestler, again, I'll just reiterate this, then we'll move on. If every wrestler was being debuted with like the same way Giulia was, I'd have a problem too. But they can just get away with that one here or there, or like an Ethan Page. Here's the other thing too. It's easier to do with NXT because NXT is sort of like an internet-y fan thing too. Y'all got to understand that. Like only the Uber marks are watching NXT, just like only the Uber marks are watching AEW. And WWE understands that, and that's why they do this. They're doing this crossover stuff. That's why they bring Sexy Red in, because it's going to make Twitter go crazy. They understand that with NXT. So what they did is that's why they brought her to NXT first. Now, when her time's to come to SmackDown, they're going to build up to it. Trust me. She's probably going to get a Rumble appearance first. They might run her vignettes. They'll see. Like, they'll test it. They'll dip her toes in. Maybe I doubt they'd give her like a main event match if they even do those by the time. They're talking about cutting live shows down and stuff down to like 200 a year. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just disagree vehemently with Thunder Rosa and O'Shea, if that was his opinion too. And shout out O'Shea. You have any more thoughts on that, old Jake, or what?
No, I agree with you. I thought her debut was good. I thought the video package showed enough about her, because I knew only of her. I never had seen any of her stuff in Japan, and I thought it was a good showing of it and built her up as a star. I was excited for the match. I'm excited for her first match in the CW with Roxanne too, and I think it's smart too, with like you said, she's got, it's like what Roman was saying that Dusty said to him, where baby, you are it. Like she just has it. Like when she comes out, you just see it, and yeah, it's going to be a big. The women's division going into the CW is looking fantastic on that.
It reminds me of when It reminds me of when Shinsuke came in, dude.
Yeah,
it gives me the same vibes. Like he's such, because he is that guy who, like, I was such a fan of him in Japan. Like he just had that aura, like, about him, and like I was looking up his matches online, and like holy. Then when he came to NXT, it was like, yeah, you just knew when he walked in the building with that music. That's like Giulia. She comes in with that music. It's like, yeah, dude, she's just got it. And hopefully they pull the trigger. This ain't Vince. The misstep with Giulia was the 50-50 debut. Please elaborate, Milwaukee. Hey. What was the misstep there with the 50-50? Like she came in, argued with what did she do? She like argued with Roxanne, whatever. Chelsea gets involved, hits her, they have a match. And then the match wasn't really fit. Like Giulia didn't give her too much, man. I feel like it was a quick match. Giulia sort of hit her with her and beat her. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's a formidable first opponent. Like, you know, Chelsea Green's a former champion. And what I love too is they put like Michael Cole and Vic Joseph and put over Chelsea Green and Mitchin. They're former knockouts champions and stuff. Dude, I love that. I'm marking out so hard. They're talking about, oh, this guy had the X Division title, or like they were TNA tag champions. And, you know, they're talking about Chelsea Green. She's a former TNA knockouts tag champion. I'm like, God damn, dude, this is amazing. What a timeline. What a timeline.
I thought it was great too. When they were in England, he was talking like Rev Pro and was all the things that Drew had been through with the, ICW in Ireland and all that stuff. That's great. Like that's a whole new world for us. It's not acting like people disappeared and went into the ether if they leave the WWE. Like the rest of the world actually exists.
Another great show from PWT. Yeah. Here, I'll give you a yeah.
Yeah.
It's the wrong one. Called you a mark. Chelsea Green is really great. I hope she'll get her flower in the future. Any thoughts on what CM Punk will announce? On the C-Dub? Well, isn't it in Chicago? And then it's on the C-Dub NXT debut. So the storyline was he called into NXT and he's like, oh, we're going to, I got something to announce for NXT or whatever.
Yeah, so he's going to be on next week's show, which isn't the CW debut yet.
Oh,
so.
It's not? It's not? When
yeah, the CW debut is the October 1st. The first Tuesday in October, which I think is actually October.
But Punk, I guess, is going to be on this upcoming NXT, which I love. I didn't realize that part. I missed that. I dug out when I was listening to it or watching the show, and I didn't realize that part. I thought he was texting to be like, on the first CW show, I have a big announcement.
His big announcement, he wants to make the big announcement next week for
the CW
whatever
show.
He's going to announce.
What do you think it is, Alt Jake, if we hit an X-Files and had to figure out what the truth is? What do you think?
During the women's match, I mean, selfishly, I want it to be AJ coming back, but I don't think it will be.
No, they'd announce that on Raw or something.
Yeah, no, it was just odd that the text came in during the women's match, but that might not have meant anything.
Yeah, no, but it could be because he scouts like the women. That's a big thing he's doing. Like, AJ just said it in an interview with comicbook.com. She was like, yeah, he scouts the women and get back and tell me like who the good ones are, like who's great and why. She's like, but my favorites are Naomi and Bailey. You know, she's like, I just kind of pay attention to the main roster. So I don't know, man. Maybe we'll get AJ Lee. I think one day we could get AJ Lee working in WWE behind the scenes as
absolutely
like a writer, producer of helping talent like in NXT with Punk. Why wouldn't we want to see that, you know?
Yeah, she could do anything.
Yeah. What do you think Punk announces though? Like if you had to guess, like I could see it being about the women's division too, but like what do you think it would be?
I mean, what would Punk announce? Like what would he be? I mean, like
Delta's coming. Vacquere's gonna be here. We're doing we're bringing back the Evolution PLE, but it's just for
there you
the
go.
Fucking or like the Mae Young Classic, but it's just for the NXT women now instead of main roster, whatever. Like, you know.
I mean, the Evolution pay-per-view or PLE might be it. Especially with how many women they have now that are so good across all three shows. And then the NIL program is just bringing in amazing talent after amazing talent. Like that is that's crazy how well that's doing.
Yeah, maybe he says I don't know, maybe he says something like the winner of maybe he's like, "Oh, we're going to have this match for the on the first," or maybe he's going to announce that he's going to wrestle on the first NXT CW show. Maybe he's going to be like, "Dude, has he ever wrestled on NXT?" Yeah, he has, right? Like back in the early days.
Like in the game show or early days.
Yeah, I think he wrestled on it then. So I was gonna
Adam
say
Hernandez
maybe.
In the chat. He said, "What about Cora? That Cora Jade could be a part of the announcement. She's from Chicago. That's a really good shout."
That's true, and she is getting
she's
healthier,
and she's done a lot of like videos with Punk, and he's like her favorite wrestler. Where he was it at that cafe where he came and visited her after her knee surgery, and she started crying when he showed up. Like that was.
I think, dude, one day we get an AJ Lee, Cora Jade team up or like match against each other. I bet we see that one day.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
But yeah, Punk, I have no clue what he'll announce, dude. But great question. It's great to speculate about. Chelsea is a joke. Giulia struggling to beat her is a problem. She didn't struggle that much, and it's not a problem. Chelsea's not a joke, dude. You have to understand, like, she was recently a champion. She's presented as kind of like the jobber, like the mid card, like an SD Jones. Like she's someone that could win. She gets wins on TV. She could pull out a win anytime, but she's like a cowardly kind of heel type. And like the thing is they didn't go 50-50 back and forth war. It wasn't really like that. It was like Giulia was getting her in. Chelsea was kind of doing heelish. Like they went outside the ring a little bit and stuff like that, but it was just basically like Chelsea you have to look at as like, okay, she's a former champion. She's currently on SmackDown. SmackDown's above NXT. So you look at all of that, like that's how they have to present Chelsea. So she can't just walk through her, but it was also like, how long was the match? Like 5 minutes? Like it wasn't even that long. It was like a 7-minute match. How long was the match? Maybe longer than that or what? All Jake, am I tripping? Are you with me?
Maybe 8 minutes at most.
There you go, 8 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Like it was like it was not that long. So it was just sort of it wasn't like this back and forth war. It was mostly like Giulia kind of getting her moves over, just kind of showing how you set them up, and just like showing like, yo, I'm not just gonna come and clean everyone up, because if she cleans Chelsea, that means Roxanne would clean Chelsea, which is like Roxanne just go to the main roster. You have to break it down that way, like in the grand scope of WWE. That's why they didn't just give her an NXT chick to go 50-50 with. They brought a main roster girl who can take the L, who can work anybody. Also, you have to remember that too. It has to be someone who can just work Giulia, who's been in the PC for like a month maybe. Like who she touched. That's what house shows are for. So you work people before you work them on TV, right? So
she's got the Japanese history too. So that's why I thought it was real smart.
Chelsea can go anywhere. Chelsea could walk into GCW tomorrow, have a match with whoever their champion is. She could go to TNA tomorrow, have a match with Jordan Grace. She could have a match against Nia tomorrow for the title. She could go, you know what I mean? She could go to AEW, have a match with Mercedes tomorrow. She had that match with
Penta in Lucha Underground. That was insane.
Dude, she's that good. She's literally that good. So she can do character work. She can cut a promo. She can sell a toy. She can do a sexy photo shoot. She can really beat that out of someone and look crazy. She can do all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, you got it. That's who you picked to. Who else you gonna wrestle? Just job one of the people on NXT you've been building forever. Like that's not the way to do it. But yeah, it's okay. Difference of opinion. Wolverine, that Penta Chelsea match was amazing. Totally agree. For $5, Jonesy.
That was fire.
84. Yeah, amazing, dude. I love Lucha Underground. Like that. That's the thing too. I'm not against the flips. I'm not against the hardcore. The whole thing of Lucha Underground, the storytelling was like the main component, which is where I would be watching intergender matches, and it was over with me because they're telling it's like, okay, this is in its own world and there's like magic. And so if I'm just suspending my disbelief, I'm watching this show. It's like this cool drama with wrestling as a component of it. Okay, do that then. Like do so. And they ran a small building with a studio audience that was lit as though. Like that audience was always lit for Lucha Underground. but they just ran like this small building and they filled it every time. And it's like, Tony Khan, just do that and do whatever this is, you know? But I don't know, man. He just wants to run these 23,000 buildings because it's just ego. He just wants to be able to say he competes with WWE. But yeah, Lucha Underground was goated, man.
That's all Tony's ever wanted to do was be this competition, and that's not the alternative. If you want to be the alternative, focus on yourself.
Exactly.
He can't help himself.
I wonder if Freddie Prinze Jr. will ever actually start his Fed like he was planning on doing.
Oh yeah, he's been talking about for like 3 years.
Yeah, well, he did all those Netflix movies to get the bank for it. He was going to do that cinematic stuff as well, but like, you know, he really wanted Bray and Karrion Kross and these guys, but they all went back to WWE, and that was years ago. So who knows if he ever does it? But yeah, you're right, Jonesy. That match is amazing, guys. Go check out old Lucha Underground. Chelsea is a cowardly heel with a heavy. Her dominating Giulia, with Giulia only winning on a fluke, is not a debut for a big acquisition. Okay, so I just disagree with you. So she didn't win on a fluke, dude. She hit her move. She hit that driver. The what was it? It was like a snowplow, basically, like a modified brainbuster, whatever she did.
Yeah, and then she also had her in that that submission too. That was really cool.
She put her in the spider like
spider,
the spider lock or whatever. They said, "Yo, I know you think this might be the octopus stretch. It's not. It's actually the spider, whatever."
And she, like,
it was just them introduced. They needed someone who could sell for her, and then also make her come from behind a little bit to where it's believable, right? Like if Giulia's this big talent, she would just smoke everyone on NXT, right? But she can't just walk through people on NXT, bro. And it wasn't like she got dominated. Like you're saying dominated at no point. She sold for Chelsea Green. Okay, yeah, watch the match back. It was mostly just Chelsea like running away and then like setting up Giulia's moves so they could introduce the audience to her moves and how they're set up type. And then of course Giulia sells a bit because Chelsea's a main roster girl. Giulia's going to sell a bit for Roxanne too. Are you going to be mad at that? Like, you know what? Because Roxanne, by all means, by all of what the psychology of what NXT is compared to SmackDown, right? Roxanne should be under Chelsea. Like Chelsea should be able to give Roxanne a run for her money too, right? Like, am I wrong about that? Chelsea's main roster. So Roxanne is the NXT champ. Why isn't she main roster? She's 22 years old. It's because the people in NXT are like, that's why it's the developmental. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think that Chelsea being main roster is why they did that. Like if they put her in there with like a TNA chick and she just squashed a TNA girl, okay. If she just squashed some NXT girl, sweet. But just putting her in there and having her squash it and kill someone isn't what's going to get Giulia over, because Giulia's going to be fighting people bigger than her for most of her time in WWE for the most part. So Roxanne isn't going to be so much, but Giulia they need to get over that. I don't want to say the Rey Mysterio thing because there's a lot of undersized girls, but just that notion of like, she's going to fight from behind and she can already go toe to toe with main roster people and beat them. You know what I mean? Like Chelsea's a multiple time champion. And like, yeah, we've seen Chelsea on the main roster giving people on the main roster a run for their money. So you just got to think psychology wise, like, okay, if she just walked through Chelsea, then she's just going to walk through Roxanne. And then what? She just walks through everyone that Roxanne went toe to toe with for the last, you know, how long? You can't do it that way. You got to think of the bigger picture. So I do get what you're saying, like isolation, just Giulia. Yeah. It would be nice if she just came in and killed everyone with every just flying knee, finished everyone, put her over like Goldberg. You can't do that. That's what Obafemi's for. You know what I mean? So you have to, like with Giulia, you have to just plant all the seeds. And then you have to just like, if she just walks through Chelsea, who's like gone toe to toe with like people the level of Bianca, and you know, then what does that mean? Giulia can just walk through everyone and walk through Roxanne. Roxanne went to war with she just walks through everyone in NXT. No, it doesn't work that way. Chelsea's main roster, like so that, I don't know. I broke it down good enough, and that would be my argument to what you're saying. But
and I also think Chelsea's a little bit better than he's giving her credit for, but that's, you know, difference of opinion of it.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at like the bigger picture.
So did you just see on Danielson and McGuinness it's a grand slam in 2 weeks? Yeah,
dude, there you go.
I thought it was going to be on the pay-per-view as well. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No build up to anything. Just throw it all out right now.
Hot shot booking,
man. To anything. Yeah. God.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They just rush through that stuff. So here's Giulia. Here we go. So like, this is what I mean, right? Like, this is because you're like, oh, like she got devastated by her or whatever you were saying, destroyed. No, she didn't. Giulia destroyed Chelsea. You know what I'm saying? Like in their first encounter, Giulia just whooped her ass. So it, like, to me, it's like, nah, they go back and forth a bit. Maybe next week on NXT, Giulia squashes someone. Boom. And then we're like, oh, she's for real, you know? But you just couldn't. In the debut, you got to show everyone her moves. It's like when Rey Mysterio came in to SmackDown the first ever time. Like, he got in there with Chavo. And like, I know it's Chavo, right? But Chavo wasn't like Chavo then. We have a 4-man figure 4 sharpshooter going off. And the crowd's going mild.
Everybody suplex everybody's spot where they all link together. Like, oh, how indie-rific. And then the models. Didn't everybody in AEW say that was the worst gimmick ever? And then they pop for them when they come out here.
Now they love them in AEW. It's just so stupid. But yeah, Giulia whooped Green here. And here we go. I'm going to get pulled for this. Dawn Stevens. Boom. People were on her too for not laying the knee in.
And then push the other angle that shows she nailed it.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you want her to what? Like, concuss a main roster talent right in her first thing in WWE? Like, what are you, stupid? Like, people are just nuts, man. People are insane. But yeah, she's just got it. Whatever it is, just look at her face. Like, it's just all about. And same with Roxanne, man. She's coming into her own. It's just the mug. Just all of it, you know? Oh my God, there's just something about her, dude.
That's the best part of NXT for me is if you watch it for a long while, like, you would seriously just see them actually growing and getting better and better and better. Like, it's tangible. You can see that it's working. And that's why when Tony brags he doesn't have a PC, I'm like, that's not a good thing. You need a performance center.